I've been called lots of stuff. Yeah, I've done a lot of deed. I've had it rough and tough. You know I've smoked a lot of weed. Mellow, don't you know? Well, I've learned a thing or two, like when and where I should go to, what I should or shouldn't do. I've been left alone, no company, but that's alright with me, 'cause I'm big and ugly. I'm big and ugly. I'd like to let it grow, you know I'm talking about my beard. I'll have you all know that I know sometimes it might look weird, but I got a friend upstairs whom I'll keep confiding in. I know he's there 'cause when I knock he always lets me in. Brings me peace with what it is and what is not for me. To accept what I see, they're looking back at me as big and ugly. Big and ugly. I could have been small and cute and play a flute like a dream, or sing like an angel, maybe play ukulele. But I got to work with my hands and keep dragging it along, banging on that old guitar. Sometimes I'll write a song. I lose a few friends, so it seems I got no enemies. 'Cause what you get is what you see, that's how it is with me, 'cause I'm big and ugly. I'm big and ugly. Big and ugly.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Big Uglies. I'm your host Josh Denny, and it's been a couple weeks since we've seen you guys, and by we I mean of course myself and the one and only Mr. Carl Spitali. Hey buddy.
Oh, the hero.
Oh man, you've been out of pocket for a couple of weeks.
I don't know if that's the phrase.
Yeah, out of pocket. Isn't that what
I'm out of pocket is like you cross the line. You're
Oh,
being
okay.
disrespectful.
Well, isn't that also the case?
I mean, maybe. I know that there's been a lot of out of pocket shit I've seen on the news going around.
Yeah, so a little information. You had to go back home and visit some family for a couple weeks, and then of course what I think is always fun about these trips home is number one, like the nuisances of traveling. Like you sent me some stuff about flying the other day about something with some Asian dude on the plane.
Oh no. So his wife was Asian.
Oh,
and
okay.
He was like a white, and it only happened like when I'm either leaving California and have to deal with Californians, or when I'm flying back and have to deal with Californians. But like this this lady, well, so flying Southwest, it's that free for all seating sort of thing. But when you're in that first group, you're like, oh, okay, I probably got an exit row. And I get on the plane, and there's this lady who's literally like 5'1", 5'2". She's got a knee brace on, but she could sit in any fucking seat on the whole plane.
Sure, she could probably
And they
stand up in it.
and they spaced the seat in between them in the exit row. Across is the 2 exit seats with that space right there, so you can sit. So some dude was already sitting in that one that's like a fucking, you can lay down in. 2 people were sitting in that one across. So then these motherfuckers sat right there, right? And they expected nobody to be there. And I'm like, fuck this. I would rather sit in a middle seat in an exit row than sit in a regular seat, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna sit right there. And I just like got down in between both of them, right? And this lady was like so frustrated that she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna slide over here. Do you want it?" And this guy, like her husband, whatever the fuck, was like, no offense, but I think I'm gonna sit over there. I was like, bro, she's moving. Why don't you just sit in the aisle?
Yeah.
I think I did him a favor. Like, who the hell wants to sit next to that lady the whole time, right? I'm
Right.
helping you out, buddy, right? Even if she's your wife, right? I'm helping you out. So this exchange was like unnecessary because the dude just moved over to the aisle seat. She had plenty of we're in the first group. There's still so many seats. She sits in the other exit row, like across from us. I was like,
Yeah.
what was the big deal? You're small, I'm not, and this guy is tall. He's like 6'2", right? So I like the audacity that she had after this. So they get up, they move, and then after the flight, right? So she wants to like walk off with him, and he so like I'm just going, I'm about to step out, and then she kind of like goes in front of me with her fucking I bring my carry-on that wheels down the aisle fucking bag, that shit. And I sarcastically said, no, just go. So she had an attitude that was like, hey, I moved for you. Okay, you should be grateful. You should be thankful. I go, what? I go, lady, just walk.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be. But like, none of that happens when I'm flying to. Dude, I flew to Kansas City. I flew to everyone else. I flew to Austin. Everybody's so nice.
I don't think that mic is on. I think it's coming through your phone audio. That's okay. I mean, it's okay. It sounds fine, but you don't have to hold that. You could just not hold that for the rest of the time.
It's a habit.
I know. I'm sitting here going, I don't think that mic is on. I'm pretty sure that's room tone that we're getting. And and I definitely, it was confirmed when you tapped it a couple times and didn't make any noise. But yeah.
Well, now the jig is up.
Yeah. Well, speaking of jigs, pretty good segue. I don't know if you saw this earlier today. This is funny. I don't know why that's doing that like that, but yeah, there we go. Now my scenes are right. But I wanted to show this at the start of the show. I just saw this like a little bit before. What do we have? I have it right here. Did you have fun on your visit to Florida at least? I mean, all things considered, I don't want to go into specifics, but
I definitely had fun interactions, like going to the hospital that I was at, dealing with Filipino nurses.
yeah.
Filipino nurses are hilarious because they only have a certain level of empathy, right? That's like ingrained in them. The rest of it is just
they're still very business in the sense that like it's their job. It's still their
that's
job.
how they feel. This is my job.
Yeah.
I walked out of the room one time and this Filipino nurse goes, "Oh, wow, you're so tall. You're so tall. How come? How tall?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm 6'8". And they go, "Oh, wow. I have a patient who's their son is he like 6'9", but he has the one eye like this way and the other eye like this way because he has the giantism." Dude, I laughed for like 2.5 minutes straight. I couldn't be. I was like, first of all, and she was like, "You don't have giantism. This very, very bad." And then she just went right into like a medical condition about a stranger. That
Yeah.
this random person had giantism, and that I should be grateful that I don't have it.
Yeah. Now, can you catch it? Is the question.
You know that may be something. There might be something. There might be something to that. You
Yeah,
just catch the Andre the Giant shit after like 47 beers.
that would be insane.
Anybody want a prenup?
Yeah, I think if she hung around you a little bit longer, she wouldn't be so certain that you did not have the giantism.
Yeah, she would definitely be like, "Listen, I was wrong. You have a very bad giantism." I
I
love
like
their accent too, that they go like high and then they have this like low thing, like they're Austin Powers or something. Like she even said like, "Hello, sir. I'm here to check your vitals."
it's like sing-songy.
Yeah, because like you said, they start with some sort of salutation or anything, and then it's right back to, "I have a job to this. This is my job." So
Don't argue, and you can't argue with them at all under any circumstance because Filipinos do not stop to listen at any point. Like you
oh,
could be talking to, and
really?
they'll just
Yes.
talk over you the entire fucking time as if you're not speaking at all.
Sirs, we need to get you better, okay? You're not getting
Yeah, you're like,
better.
I just don't. Yeah, you could be like, just start talking in the middle of it to respond, and they will just steamroll you and just talk over you. The other thing I learned this week is that Spanish can't be whispered. I don't know if you saw that, but like, dude, this I just want to say this when we talk about like racism in America, whatever. It's over. It's over because I watched. I was at lunch the other day and I watched a Mexican illegal FaceTiming her dogs in Spanish. It's over. You fully assimilated to the whiteness that is America. Okay.
Yeah,
We
but they didn't. But at the same time, they didn't, right? And I see these stories about ICE and all this, and they're rounding up the wrong people and all that. And the
Yeah,
guy will
they're
get
all
on
the right
TV.
people. They're all the right
But
people.
the guy will get on TV. It's like, "I was born here. I citizen of the United States. I did everything here." And you're like, "Hey, you know what? They would never cause confusion if you lost your fucking accent."
Right. Also,
if
the
you've been here
first
for 70 fucking years and can't form a sentence where you don't sound like that,
yeah, and also drop the J at the front of United States. Okay,
it's a
not
United States.
okay.
Okay.
Not since the Kennedy assassination has it been the United States.
Oh, did you see that?
I mean, I saw some of it.
JFK.
I just loved when it came out. I just pictured you message. It didn't happen, which I was kind of disappointed in because I was waiting for you to go.
It's the Jews.
Did you see who did it?
Well, there was a damning thing. It's just like, I don't know if you've seen that Daily Wire is like spiraling.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Jeremy Boring stepped down. He's not,
dude,
it's so funny though. It's like step down as in like got rid of your bullshit title to do what you've been doing anyway, which is just being a director for movies that you're trying to make.
yeah, but Ben Shapiro, like his take on
The
the
Daily Wire,
JFK.
the Daily Wire literally was like the Jews run Hollywood, and then Ben Shapiro was like, I'm a Jew, can I be part of Hollywood? And they're like, not you, nerd. And he was like, I'll start my own Hollywood.
I'll show you.
Which is basically what he did. He was like, I'll start and run my own Jewish Hollywood. You'll see.
And we're just gonna make shittier versions of the movies they're gonna release.
Right. Yeah, he's like, their Snow White's gonna be woke and shitty, and ours is gonna be conservative.
Just shitty.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know if you saw his JFK take though. It's the same as like the people who
Ben's or Jeremy's?
Ben Shapiro.
Uh-huh.
It's I think Anomaly had posted it, but dude, it is the same exact take that other people have when me and Eric were like looking into COVID about, hey guys, this is where it came from, about how like lab leak theory and all this shit. His take is, who cares where it came from or who was involved? Okay, we have to deal with it. Like his whole thing is like, it doesn't matter who did it. And you're like, it does. They
Right.
murdered a sitting president, you fucking Habib.
Well, and this is the thing that people don't understand, and this is like, this is where I think it gets a little bit off the rails, is because when you talk about the Jews, it's like, well, it's not really the Jews, it's the state of Israel and the Jews that run their government, and more importantly, their intelligence agencies. And so it's not the that's fucking working a deli in New York. It's his cousin who's back.
But it's not them.
Right. Saying, like, when people
because
go,
they all use somebody else that were like, yeah. I like to think of like Jews always got a guy for something, right? Like they who's a Jew, right? He'd be like, oh, my cousin's a baker, go to him, or my cousin makes shoes, go over there. They always got a guy who does something. They keep it. Dude, the JFK thing.
Italians used to have guys too. You guys used to have your guys. And then for the JFK thing, their guys got together. It turns out their guys were the same guys.
Yeah, like, so they look at Jack. When you look at the whole Jack Ruby thing, right? I was like, oh, Jack Ruby, who fucking. Until like a couple years ago, I had no idea the guy's name was Jack Rubenstein, and he was an intelligence asset. And like the reason that the FBI and CIA were like taking their time with Epstein is like the sexual blackmail dates all the way back to the 50s, the 40s, and so like when they created the state of Israel, and the 60s especially, because he started saying, hey, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that. And they're like, motherfucker, do you remember who you work for?
Yeah.
And so LBJ, as a power hungry, sure, do whatever, he had no problems with letting those people get what they want, so long as he got what he wanted.
Well, and the big thing that people pointed out, which was kind of news to me until I read about it, was that I didn't know there was any of the stuff about AIPAC. Well, what's now AIPAC, back then it was the
Zionist, American Zionist Coalition, or
it was like the AZC or whatever. But basically saying like, you need to register as a foreign agent with the American government, right?
And there was a letter he wrote.
Yeah. And I didn't know about any of this until I read it. And then it's like, and then it was shortly thereafter that he was assassinated. And then LBJ basically tore that concept up, threw it away, and was like, no, you guys are fine, Jews. You can, continue operating status quo.
You mean
without registering as a foreign agent?
Let me stop you right there. You mean I still get to be president? And they're like, yeah, right. It's like, more power to you.
That was kind of the plan there, Johnson.
Before Monica Lewinsky, before all this, there was what the fuck is her name? There's this Israeli spy chick that he had an affair with, but it's not like documented until 1965, like 2 years after JFK was killed. But he met her in 1960. Wow, what the fuck is her name? It's gonna drive me nuts. But
you're talking about Biden?
Nice. No. Either way, LBJ, like before Clinton, before the Marilyn Monroe thing, was probably like, hey, we can set this up for you. Like they like procured it and all that shit. It wasn't just like, I'm the president, I can do whatever the fuck I want. There was still like, and if you were to make a comedy movie about the JFK assassination, the funniest angle would be how there was hundreds of shooters there all trying to kill him.
Right.
And
it's like Rat Race, but at the end of it, JFK dies.
Yeah. And he ends up getting shot by like a air pistol fucking homemade gun the CIA made and gave to the driver type shit. That's like the most conclusive thing that I've seen that I could like come to, is like, oh yeah, dude, he didn't get shot for that. There's one instance where it shows like who Lee Harvey Oswald, at least from that angle, shot through the car. It was like the governor of Texas was in the passenger's right-hand side, who gets shot like in the arm. It goes through the seat, corkscrews up, and then hits JFK or some shit. That's like what they tried to tell us for like 60 years.
What's so funny is I never realized for the longest time. So I'm going through my, semi-annual or whatever Seinfeld rewatch, and I didn't realize that the episode with Keith Hernandez is literally them doing a satire on the Zapruder film.
Back and to the left.
Back and to the left of the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah, because that's when I'm pretty sure that's when Oliver Stone's JFK movie came out.
Was around that time.
Yeah, with Kevin Costner. So that was the whole thing, was back and to the left. Back and to the left.
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull this up. It's pretty funny.
There was like, I didn't spit on you. And didn't it end up being Jerry?
No, it was somebody else. I can't remember who it was. It was some other situation, but there had to be a second spitter is so funny. That line. Let me pull this up here. Share screen. Here we go. I got it.
I could have swore it like ended up being Jerry spitting on Newman. Park up the end.
Newman. I hate Keith. Hate him.
I despise him. Why? I'll tell you why.
Well, let me tell it.
No, you can't tell it.
You always tell it.
All right, tell it.
You just tell it.
It's you and me, buddy.
June 14th, 1987. Mets, Phillies were enjoying a beautiful afternoon in the right field stands when a crucial Hernandez error opens the door to a 5-run Phillies ninth, cost the Mets the game.
Our day was ruined. There was a lot of people, they're waiting by the players' parking lot. Now we're coming down the ramp. Newman was in front of me. Hernandez was coming toward us. As he passes us, Newman turns and says, "Nice game, pretty boy." Hernandez continued past us up the ramp.
Then, a second later, something happened that changed us in a very deep and profound way from that day forward.
What was it?
He spit on us. And I screamed out, "I'm hit!"
Then I turned and the spit ricocheted off him and it hit me.
That's like the driver.
Yeah.
That's like the right passenger.
Story.
Right.
Unfortunately, the immutable laws of physics contradict the whole premise of your account.
This is you.
Allow me to reconstruct this, if I may, for Miss Bennis, as I've heard this story a number of times.
Yeah, this is
Newman,
Eric.
Kramer, if you'll indulge me.
Jew is explaining how it goes down.
According to your story, Hernandez passes you and starts walking up the ramp.
Mm-hmm.
Then you say you were struck on the right temple. The spit then proceeds to ricochet off the temple, striking Newman between the third and the fourth rib. The spit then came off the rib, made a right turn, hitting Newman in the right wrist, causing him to drop his baseball cap. The spit then splashed off the wrist, pauses in midair, mind you, makes a left turn, and lands on Newman's left thigh. That is one magic loogie.
Well, that's the way it happened.
What happened to your head when you got hit?
Well, my head went back to the left. Say that again. Back and to the left.
Back and to the left. Back and to the left.
So, what are you saying?
I'm saying that the spit could not have come from behind. That there had to have been a second spitter.
Dude, he's cracking up even in the filming of it,
Behind the bushes on the gravelly road. If the spitter was behind you as you claim, that would have caused your head to pitch forward.
So the spit could have only come from the front and to the right.
But that's not what they would have you believe.
Who's they, Jerry?
I'm leaving.
Who's they?
Jerry's a nut.
Wait. The sad thing is, we may never know the real truth.
It's a classic.
Who's they, Jerry?
Who's they, Jerry? Who's they? It's kind of funny looking back on it now that there was a Jewish sitcom where they spoofed this, where the Jewish star of the show is basically explaining the entire thing.
But the fact that they still like had all these like pages redacted and all this stuff, then they like unredacted them, and you see that like there's all this shit about Cuba, right?
Right.
But not like the Cubans. It was about who was backing them. And they straight up were like, the Jews are backing us now, so we don't have to worry about shit. Basically, that's what like the Cuban dude had put in the affidavit. And it makes you think of Godfather too. But like Hyman Roth and all that, they're in Cuba. And like Michael Corleone like backs out of the deal because he's like, the rebels can win. Right.
Uh-huh.
But it's actually, I wonder if like Coppola and Mario Puzo just flipped it, where they're like, instead of admitting that Hyman Roth and the Jews and stuff would support and back the rebels, they flipped it to where they backed the military who got overthrown. But then I remembered, oh yeah, they fought both sides of a conflict. So, it's very unfortunate what took place and transpired, but, it's better for everyone this way.
Yeah. What do you think? Like, where do you think all this stuff sort of goes, right? Like, do you think that you will see, like, I guess my point is, with all the noticing, with all the information that's coming out and everything, do you think you'll see the current administration pull back from Israel in any way?
No, they'll double down before that.
Okay.
There's also been these like rumors that have gone on since the 2016 administration that Trump converted to Judaism and has like his own personal rabbi. Have you ever seen those?
No, I haven't
articles
seen
and stuff.
Conspiracy theory at all.
There's like, I want to say like Medium or one of them type sites. I wrote that article. But you can type in Trump and converts to Judaism, and there's probably like a bunch of shit from like 2017 and shit like that.
Let me see.
And that's when like people are like, dude, his son-in-law is Jewish, his grandkids are Jewish, somewhere along the line he's Jewish, Elon Musk is like 1/8 Jewish, all his baby mamas are Jewish. It was like, okay, I'd say this is an overrepresentation in government.
Yeah, I mean, you could go through and you can look at different administrations and see all of that stuff, but
this event was the one in which they consolidated that sort of power and flipped it with the CIA and the FBI. Because I've been for years, and this is the funniest part to me, is that nobody's looking into the MLK files and demanding those, right? Because they're just going, yeah, but he's fucking black. Right. They're just going, they're like, the FBI, who was infiltrated by this intelligence agency, had him murdered, and they're like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah, speaking of blacks, I've had this queued up for a minute to watch, but I saw this earlier today, and it tickled my belly a little bit in the sense that I was like, boy, there really is nothing worse for society than how dumb black people think they're smart because everyone has been too polite to tell them that they're not smart. And then you end up with two boobs on the news like these two.
Did they lower the standards for colleges again?
No. Well, sort of. Let me just pull this up. So, the left's favorite thing right now is talking about how, Trump is going to invade Canada. Listen to what these two fucking retards.
By the way, both of them are fired.
Yeah, now their podcast. By the way, they're doing the same thing we're doing. So these are two people that were on CNN who are basically doing the same podcast as us. But and this is very hard to do. Fucking dumber than we are. Just take a listen.
That's hard to do.
Grampy Trump, let's talk. Let's talk. First of all, you can't make Canada the 51st state without going to war with them. And let me explain how that happened, how that worked out the last time we tried to go to war with Canada.
Okay, first of all, I just want to stop you right there. It happens all the time. A company, I'm sorry, a state or a territory or whatever can join a country willingly at any time without war. It happens all the time. You know, Puerto Rico would happily become a state instead of a U.S. territory tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't remember the Great Puerto Rican War.
Right. So it's like all the time. And this kind of shit happens in other parts of the world regularly. I mean, and this was a big part of NATO and the USSR and all of this stuff, which was, and this is, again, the whole reason behind the Ukraine war was not because Putin has this deep hatred for Ukraine. Ultimately, he did not want NATO on his borders. So he was like, all right, well, if Ukraine's going to join NATO, I'm going to fucking invade that. So it's not a NATO country because I don't want it.
One rule. He had one rule. He was like, don't make them a NATO country. And they're like,
yeah,
this guy's, what does this fucking guy know?
Yeah. And he was like, okay, I do. I will come in and I will take your whole lives.
Here is Ovechkin on your television.
Yeah. Here you go. So then listen to this fucking Rhodes Scholar.
They burned the White House to the ground in 1814 and won the war. Canada beat us in the War of 1812. They probably like their chances against us.
Okay, so real quick, first of all, what a horrible recollection of history. The other thing is they like our chances again. Yeah, well, let's just take a ganders at the State of the Union in 1812. Used to were fucking livestock in 1812. So it's safe to say some shit has changed since 1812. Okay? For instance, the creation of the stealth bomber, just off the top of my head as one of them. You know, direct energy weapons, which, you know, are a myth.
Canada would lose to the Blue Angels.
Right.
And they just do stunts in the air.
You know, Canada's been winning wars constantly, right? It's fucking ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And it continues.
We're not going to beat them in a war because we have never been able to do that. You'd have to occupy a country that is equivalent of the size of the United States, in which the top 2/3 of it is uninhabited, frozen forest land.
So nobody's there.
Right. And this is the other thing. Right. So the entirety of the country is now concentrated in the lower third, which actually would make it way easier to just take over. But this is the blackest response you could have, because she goes, you ain't going to take no military up there in all that cold.
All that snow.
Cold. You know, how you going to inhabit that? No, well, we're not going to, because they're not doing it. Well, you know, what would we this? And by the way, you know how we would take it over? The same way we did with wooden ships 400 years ago in this motherfucker. You don't think there was? You think we saw snow and we were like, "It's all yours, Indians."
Oh no!
Get out of here,
guys. We can't do war today. It's snowing.
Yeah, this stupid. By the way, you are now. What's so funny to me is that if everything you're saying is true, then white people have never been imperialist, colonialist, oppressors, right? Because they can't do these things. They can't go into foreign lands and take them over and conquer a people. They've never done it, according to you. We've never done it in North America, except for the entire creation of this nation, which we used you as farm equipment to help make.
Also, wasn't saying the
so which is it? Are we pussies, or are we a dominant imperialistic force that has oppressed you into the point of whining on the internet all day?
Well, isn't it funny too that she's saying that the White House was burned down and stuff, and be like, yeah, because it was a dump and the slaves built it, so they had to rebuild it because it was shoddy construction.
Yeah.
it's like, hey, boss, you want us to help again? No.
This time. No.
No.
We'll let your
No.
Italian friend with the fucking spackle do a good
That
job.
touches the Arctic. You know how that worked out when the Nazis tried that with Russia, which is the equivalent of Canada on that part of the world?
Oh yeah, is that what happened? Did the Nazis go into Russia and try to invade it? You are the dumbest bitch I've ever seen in my life.
It's actually tragic to think they're that retarded and go like, I'm a cherry pick this random information, throw it together and go, this is just like the Nazis. And be like, the guy was on amphetamines and tried to face a 2-front war. Like, that's why the Nazis lost.
Right. And by the way, I just want to point out, in case you thought black people weren't the dumbest motherfuckers on the face of the earth, I just want to point out here that it was at this moment that Lisa G had decided to become a YouTube member on the channel. She said, ain't never heard no smarter shit than this right here. I need to become a supporter. Oh, it's fucking insane.
She clicked on that and said, I know that's right.
I know that's right. That's what I'm talking about. You ain't never gonna go up in no Canada, get no shit going on up there. Come on now.
And I tell you what, who's gonna fight? They not sending.
Lose. We don't have enough troops to occupy. They are a country of 39 million people who have about as many guns per capita as we do.
Now she gets per capita.
Right. She says they're a country of 39 million people. We have that in California, bitch. We have 39 million people in one state.
They're retarded.
Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you out of your mind? And by the way, how many of all of those Canadians, how many of them do you think are military fighting age and shape? Just out of curiosity. Because I'd be willing to bet a lot more of them look like me than look like that.
No, they look like Don Lemon, but they talk like, oh,
Grampy Trump.
Ugh, it's unreal.
Welcome to Canada. We will fight for this country. You're gonna fight for this country? Yes, buddy. But I will fight in the cyber warfare. Okay, please.
Yes, that's a good point. People forget how much of Canada is now Indian immigrants.
And they're all shitting on the beach. Have you seen that?
No. Are Indian people just be shitting on the beach?
Dude, they dig a hole, shit in the beach, and just
shit in the beach.
In the sand. Like, just right under the surface, take a shit, and slightly cover it. Then kids go and dig sandcastles, and they're digging into fucking Pajit shit. And it's an epidemic. Canadians shitting on the beach in Canada. It is an epidemic. What are you telling me? I cannot shit? I cannot shit right here? Why can I not shit? This is where I shit. Please.
Hold on. I literally have the video. This is fucking fantastic. This was on Rebel News, I guess. Not full screen. Come on. What are we doing?
This is very shit. Very shit. Please. You don't want to see shit? Then don't dig your hand in sand. Please. Because
this is fucking fantastic. Let me pull this up.
there is many shit.
This is fun. Isn't this fun? Don't you look at this and go, wow, man, so fun.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Racism is over.
On the beach, watch out so you don't step in any human poop.
I've heard people are using tents and they're just like doing it in the sand so no one can see. I think it's really gross.
They're digging holes and they're pooping and putting tents up because they don't want to go to the washrooms. And I'm here to fact check that because that's not a lie. So
it makes me not want to swim and not want to be on the beach.
To be a responsible parent, you should be showing your kids that you can actually throw out their diaper in the washroom, not bury it at a beach.
Hold on, are we just gonna skimp by those maybe perfect hits?
Showing your kids that.
Look at these things. These are the Mississauga milkers right here. Look at these. And she's holding Crocs. I mean, look, girl, I know you might have been born up there, but you belong here with us. You better bring that ass on down the border.
I think it's gross, and they're not throwing out shitty diapers where they should be throwing them
You
out.
can actually throw out their diaper in the washroom, not bury it at a beach.
Some of it's just common sense. Like, why would you do that?
They dig a hole, and they use it for their bathroom.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Wasaga Beach, Ontario, the world's longest freshwater beach. But you know something, folks? There is something a little more putrid
fresh
on the
water.
beach
So it's not
these
getting
days.
washed
And
away by the ocean. It's fresh water.
Right. It's just floating. It's just dunking. You're just dunking them up.
High tide comes in there. And
a
they're
local
shitty.
resident by the name of Natty, she recently took to social media,
shout out to Natty,
in which she accused newcomers, mostly from India, of defecating on the beach and then burying their excrement in the sand.
There are Indian families that dig holes and put tents and poop. They do it on the beach now, and they did it off my backyard. There was like 3 different families of maybe 25, 30 people that came for barbecues. They would set up right on the fence of my.
Well, who knew that Leonardo had been going this long? I had no idea that she started in Canada.
She just said there was like 3 or 4 families of 30 people that were just lining up to take a dump in one hole.
In her fucking place. And people are going, oh, yeah, no, this is happening, you see. Oh, yeah, look at them pooping.
This is the problem with not having any
from a
racism.
Yeah.
No prejudice, no racism. You get so cucked into not speaking up of like, hey, this is disgusting. And your culture's not our culture.
Yeah, we don't shit outside here anywhere. So take that shit back to the fucking middle of nowhere. Unbelievable.
Yeah, the only people that do that here are the homeless.
Yeah. And by the way, very few of which are Indian. But who do you think they fucking learned it from?
Pajeets.
They learned it from somebody, man.
I was on a Greyhound and they made me take shit. And I was so distraught because I had to go in a bathroom. Please. This is trauma for me. Why won't they just let me shit on seat next to me? Huh?
They do you think that they don't like the toilet because their body is covered in that brown grease and it's just they slip off it immediately as soon as they try to sit down on something hard?
Isn't that the charcoal soot that is all over them? The shit soot?
I don't know what it is, but it's a film. It's a thin, greasy film that covers their entire body. Like, can I just point something out to you? Have you ever heard of aliens abducting people from India?
Never once.
Never once. Never once. Have you ever been like, oh no, did the spaceship come over the dump and pull us up, man? I don't know why. Jamaican. They're Jamaican. Well, do you see them getting abducted either?
Me can't stand when the UFO came down and try to rip up me asshole. I said, I don't want no batty boy thing like that. So I'm gonna shoot him.
There's a reason for it. There's a reason why you don't see abductions happening in Mumbai or
there's regular abductions there.
Yeah.
They're too busy raping their own people to get raped by aliens.
Yeah. Aliens just go over it and they're just like, oh, Jesus Christ, keep it moving.
The irony is here they are the aliens that are raping.
Yeah.
They are please. Gang rape is #1 export. Gang rape. You want rape? Bring a buddy.
They work on the buddy system, is what you're saying.
They work on, but not your buddy. You bring buddy so you don't get raped. We bring buddy to rape.
Okay, well that doesn't sound like a good thing.
Because think about this. How when sometimes you get so horny. How can you hold her down when you need rape? You need a buddy.
Yeah, and nobody wants to go do those things alone, you know?
I used to think the black dudes in the South were the grossest about that, like running trains and like, yo, I'm next. And like that guy just
we talked about this on the last episode, man, where
I thought they were the worst. And then you find out
Dude,
It's
and back in the Uber day, in the early days of Uber, I remember picking this Indian dude up, and he's like
shit
one
in
of
your
these.
car.
No. He was one of these dudes who was trying to be funny, but where he was like, I had a long day at work, and I got to go home and eat a lamb and have some glass of wine, and maybe masturbate a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? And I was like, this is not how strangers bond. What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Yes,
You don't
yes,
get in
buddy.
my car and be like, I'm going home to jerk off. You too, bud?
Yes, I love it so much. It is very relaxed. You take a wine, you got the lemon fish, and then you
lemon fish.
Then you take your how do you say, your tikka
Gun
masala.
out, your gun
take
out,
your
and blow
tikka
your brains
masala.
out. Speaking of rapey dudes, who's not Indian, big surprise here for everybody.
Harry Scissors
this week. Harry Sissons. I don't know if people saw this story, but this was pretty funny. So this girl, Sarah Fields, I guess she considers herself like an investigative journalist or something. And I'll share my thoughts at the end of this, where I kind of talk about this a little bit. But she posted this thing the other day, this whole thread of all these women that Harry Sisson has like chatted with. Harry Sisson, by the way, is the faggoty left-wing TikToker who got famous during the last 4 years being a cringe
Biden cook
level pro Joe Biden and pro Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And it was obvious. This is what I think is so funny, is it was an obvious grift to me where this kid literally just looked at the landscape and said, I'll just be one of these people, these young kids talking about politics, but I'll just do it on the other side. And there's no competition. So I'll just be this insane, crazy left-wing kid on TikTok. And he amassed this massive following, basically just creating self-made, state-sponsored propaganda for the Biden administration.
This is what he like.
And lo and behold, turns out that he's a kid who likes pussy, just like the rest of us.
Well, you also have to preface it with the fact that he's the same exact faggy liberals that go like, dude, chicks can do anything guys can do. I don't know why you're being such a sexist.
Right.
Are you a misogynist? All that type of shit. And then lo and behold, he's a creep that just tries to get the same chicks on it. Like, it's not illegal.
No.
But
and by the way, there's and this is the thing is like, first of all, what's so funny to me is so many women are like, well, it is in poor taste and it's not great. And it's like, but by the way, this is the delineation of men on both sides of the political spectrum. Like you guys on the left talk constantly about promiscuity and non-monogamous relationships, ethical non-monogamy, all this bullshit. Did you think one of your hero boys on your side was not going to do that same playbook and try to fuck everybody?
It's funny too, watching the girls going like, can you believe this little faggot likes all this? I thought he was going to be my own little faggot.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just, what I wanted to cover this, talking about this is that I think more than I have a problem with Harry Sisson. I don't, I literally see him as an opportunist who was just like, I'll go be one of these young political commentators on the left that doesn't have any. And I'll just get all the stupid, sad feminist pussy that's out there. And that's literally what's happening. And so what I think people need to pull from this story is like, you should not be worried about the guys like Harry Sisson. They're always going to be out there. What you should be looking at is the myriad of depressing, sad loneliness of women on the left, of like just how desperate they are to be loved and attended to by anybody, with very little vetting, with very little discussion, and this is something I can share being like a newly single guy in the conservative side is conservative women. It takes a while to sometimes it takes a while to get their phone number. Like there's a much deeper vetting out process. And some of it is probably our age where, most of the people that we interact with are looking more for long-term relationships or partnership or whatever. They want families. So I think there's a little bit more care and concern for the vetting process. Whereas on the other side, it's just sort of like willy-nilly fuck everybody in the name of liberation or some shit. But what you're finding, and what this is a great case study for, is that women on that political ideological side of the spectrum are the unhappiest they have ever been in their entire fucking lives.
Well, it's also this. They want to, like, you know, that like you'll look at, they'll look at some serial killer or something and go, I can save him, right? They have this,
yeah.
they have this idea. Yeah, so they have this idea of like, oh, he's cute. I bet I could get him to fuck me like a fucking whore, and I'll break him. Like he seems like too wholesome. I'll fuck him like that. And then they find out he's just texting all these chicks.
Right.
And then now they're upset that they weren't the only one. And it's a story as old as time. It's just like some dude lied about who he was so he could get pussy. And and now they're like, can you believe this? I'm like, yes.
Well, and forget about like left, right. I mean, it does split that way, but like really what these women are finding out in the most embarrassing public way possible now is that you aren't that unique and special. I know that your political ideology makes you guys all think that you're these unique, delicate snowflakes and you're special or whatever, but you're just another bitch. And by the way, in case you didn't think there were 10 like you, he's found them. And you can look at all of you, look identical to each other. You sound identical. You have the same fucking personality as each other. It's like, there's a million of you bitches, and he's going to fuck them all. Like Pokemon, like, look at this. These aren't the same chicks. But they all look like the same chicks. They are is the thing. Like, it's like, yeah, they're not the same chick, but they are. You know what I mean? Where it's just like they do so clearly the type,
and they're like, "Hey, lady," like they're looking out for the other girls. Like, "Hey, ladies, just so you know, this guy's out here fucking."
Oh, I'm sorry. Does your fuck boy fuck? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, because none of y'all were like, "I'm fucking Harry," and we're out in public together and shit like that. So you know it was on some sneaky tip. So why are you trying to like, you know? Plus the whole white knighting feminist thing is a predominantly leftist thing, right?
For sure.
So the male feminist shit, usually they're rapists. So for him to not even be raping these chicks and he's just like getting different pussy, I guess we should be grateful, or they should be, you know, like. Yeah, but he's not fucking raping y'all, right? And they'd be like, no, he's just sending the same text messages to a bunch of different girls. I'm like, so you're dumb.
Yeah, exactly. So hold on. This thread, this mystery that you've unraveled is that bitches are dumb. You guys are dumb as shit. And, you know, it's just like, at what point are you just gonna look around and accept that you picked the losing game plan? Like, when are you gonna, because like for every Taylor Swift that they go, look, she's one of the richest women on the world and she's a cat lady. It's like,
there's 40 fat chicks with a septum ring.
Right. And I'm saying, but okay, so there's one Taylor Swift on your side of the aisle, politically speaking. I can look on the conservative side and go, there are hundreds of thousands of happy conservative women who have husbands and children and wives. And by the way, one of the things I did while you were gone and preoccupied was re-engineer my algorithm so that I'm not seeing women making cakes and Down syndrome people all day, which is what you like to send me. I re-engineered it to where all of my feed now is like happy families with their kids. And social media has become awesome for me because I'm just scrolling and it's like dads with their little kids, moms with their little kids, like at the playground.
People are gonna think like, look at them, dude. My algorithm's just little kids now. Like, okay.
Well, not like Vito's algorithm. It's a little bit more wholesome than that. It's
but I get it. Like you want to, like social media originally was this, but like the fact that they're all like every bitch has a brand. So that's what it is. Like they're upset. They're like, what is this gonna do for my brand? Are we gonna get a talk show from this Harry thing? You're like, no. What? No, you just you're just a loser.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like you go on if you build your social media algorithm to be like conservative shit, you'll have some political stuff in there, but what you'll have is a lot of like wholesome content where it goes back to what social media was in the beginning, which is family sharing, kids' birthdays or kids at karate or kids, learning
Not
how
when
to
I
play
first had
sport.
social media. When I first had social media, it was for fucking.
Okay, that was the whole thing.
For real, Facebook was
Yeah, but
book.
eventually you fuck and you make kids, and then that becomes your social media.
Yeah, but I just mean like you couldn't join Facebook without a .edu. Like it was for college kids. And you
Right.
had to put like what dorm you lived in or what part of campus you lived. And that was it. It was just for college kids to fuck each other. And then they started going like, what if we let your aunt and uncle get on here? And like, this sucks. Like that was like the downfall of all of it.
Yeah, you just go, all right, well, I'm not fucking any of them, and they better not be fucking anybody either. So
And then you find out they're fucking.
Oh.
It's like
isn't it
some chick fucked your uncle, and you're like, what is this?
There is an age. I mean, first of all, you're not going to agree with me on this because you're a fucking savage animal. But there is an age where I think you have to agree that you're shutting it down sexually entirely. Like,
I'm getting there, not shutting it down. You still got to fuck them.
But like, no, I mean, like, there's a time when the car goes in the garage for the last time ever, and like sometimes when new people come over, you take them into the garage, you take the cover off, and you show it to them. But you guys, you don't get in and go for a spin. Those that because God forbid it breaks down on the side of the road. Now it's a fucking ordeal.
It's like, you want to see the whip?
You want to see what I got? Yeah. You come in the other room, I'll show it to you. And they go, oh my God, it's beautiful. Oh, you want to turn it on? I'll turn it on for you a little bit. Rev the engine. Yeah. Oh, and then they go, should we take it out for a drive? You go, not a chance.
You crazy?
Not a chance. First of all, it's the insurance doesn't even cover the value of the car.
You see that antique license plate? Also, one of the tires needs an alignment. It's a whole thing.
No, I'm not. I wouldn't dare. With these lunatics running around out here, not a chance.
Oh, look, a black Nissan.
Time to move this garage to a new neighborhood, if you know what I'm talking about.
A Honda Accord.
I think somebody just invented a new t-shirt for us. Speaking of t-shirts, everybody, go to biguglyshop.com. You can pick up some Big Ugly's merchandise. It's a show about you can check it out. We got Seinfeld shirts, we got
mugs.
We got mugs. We got all kinds of fun stuff over there, and pretty soon we might have Honda Accord shirts. So go to biguglyshop.com. You can support the show over on Patreon. Some other interesting news for everybody to know right now, I guess, while we're doing plugs, is go to censoredtv.com/tour. I got my window open and the people are loud outside. censoredtv.com/tour. We got Los Angeles coming up April 19th, Boca Raton April 30th. Pre-sale out right now for Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania and Detroit, Michigan. Pittsburgh's looking like Saturday, May 17th weekend. Detroit, Michigan's going to be June 21st weekend. And then I am working on some satellite dates from some smaller shows that will be around those. I think maybe a Philadelphia.
And those are just shows that circle us because of our massive gravitational pull.
Correct. Yes. So yeah, head over there, use promo code Denny. You can get discounted tickets to any of those shows. But yeah, so far, LA, Boca, Pittsburgh, Detroit, and Detroit, markets that we've never been to with the 2 seasons of touring we did with Gavin, Anthony, and myself. So hitting some new markets, looking at doing Boston, looking at doing Bozeman. We got a bunch of shows coming up. So just trying to get all those on sale. And some of these cities we might put on sale when we have like a tentative idea of the weekend. And just like we're doing with these, pre-selling. And then once we get the green lights from these venues to kind of put the information out there, we'll put them out there. And then there might be some where we keep them secret shows because the market is particularly a little bit more blue. I think Detroit, we might keep that a secret show until we announce the day of. Pittsburgh, I don't think we'll have a problem with, but who knows? And then, you know, Chicago, when we do Chicago again, obviously we had 3 cancellations last time we did Chicago, so we'll be keeping that venue secret as well. So Chicago, Boston, I want to do an Arizona one. Obviously we'll go back to Austin. Just a lot of dates coming along through this summer. So stay tuned with us through the summer, and you know, we'll have a ton of different shows coming up for people to check out. And again, these are sort of the big ones. There will probably be some smaller ones sprinkled in throughout these months as well. You know, so that we can travel not for medical emergencies with our fucking old family. That's the thing that sucks about being in your 40s, is that, like, I'm in my 40s, all my friends are in their 40s or late 30s. And now we're all to the point where people are getting married, having kids, and burying their parents. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like that's kind of the shitty part about getting to this age in life. But more particularly for guys like us, because we have older dad. Like, I have an older dad. Like, I'm 41. My dad is 84. And that dude's, as far as I'm concerned, he's playing on house money. So, you know, I'm working on trying to get back to that area. You know, before it gets too late and you run out of opportunities to go home and visit before they kick the bucket, you know?
Yeah, not to be so morbid, but that's really it.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I'm a pretty open and direct person. Like, I've pretty much said everything to my parents that I've ever needed to say or wanted to say, or I've asked them every question I've ever had for them. Like, I'm ready if something were to happen. And this just is a byproduct, I think, of having like so many deaths in my family over the last decade, that you're just like, hey man, shit happens. And at any moment, you know, like, my brother wasn't supposed to die at 43. My favorite aunt died in her, I think, late 50s or early 60s. You know, so it's like, when you think about that kind of shit, when you lose those kind of people at such a young age, like, you're just like, listen, man, anything can happen. I should probably let everybody know how I feel about them, you know, every time I talk to them. So it sounds cliche to say, but it's like, yeah, you know, do that shit.
Sorry,
You right over there?
I had like a agita thing. I didn't think it was me being nauseous.
Yeah, one of the side effects of you know, one of the side effects of being gone is that you let a buddy stay at your place, and now you have to detox the whole joint. And you know, now I can literally smell the chemicals in your apartment on your face through the screen right now. You look puffy and irritated.
I also had like flu-like symptoms, so that could be a toss-up. But thanks for calling me puffy.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, it's an acknowledgement.
That's probably from the carb loading I did
in Florida,
eating pizzas and shit. That
if we stopped eating carbohydrates, you and I would both look like manorexics. If we just stopped eating carbs, if I stopped eating carbs, yeah, if I stopped eating carbs, you wouldn't recognize me in a year. You'd be like, I don't know who that slim man is over there.
I don't even know if you would know the food groups if there's no carbs.
What's left? McDonald's isn't a carb, right?
Certain things, I think.
I remember that's one of my favorite scenes in a movie is when this is the end, when Baruchel flies in the beginning, and he was like, can we go to Carl's? And he's like, I can't, I'm not doing gluten. And he goes, he's like, you don't even know what gluten is. He's like, yeah, dude, corn, that's a gluten. Meat, that's a gluten. It's just like 5 seconds later, they're just shoving Carl's Jr. in their mouths.
Oh, I want to get I gotta open up that garage and let somebody take mine for a spin, you know.
I don't know what that means.
They do, and not a Honda Accord, you know.
It sounds gross to me, and it sounds like something an Indian man would say in the back of my car in the middle of the night. You got anything you want to plug before we get out of here? We'll keep this one short and sweet this week, since you're sick. There's
you can
yelling outside.
Just LA. I think I have a promo code for Hot Carl.
Yeah, you do. People can use Hot Carl promo
on
code for shows.
And that's pretty much it. I got a
Yeah.
headache too.
Supposedly Eliza Schaefer is supposed to be joining us as a MC. He's basically doing the Ryan spot. So I don't know if he's coming to LA, but I know he's going to be in Florida with us. So that'll be fun. But yeah, that's the plan. Thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Same time.